Okay, I'll press continue, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
No secret recording anymore.
That's clever.
Yeah, I know, no fun for me though.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Hello everyone, I'm very excited to have Shani with me. Hi, would you like to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hello, hi, thank you for having me, first of all, Donna. My name's Shani Struthers, and I am the author of 24 supernatural thrillers. And yeah, I've just actually finished my 25th one, but that's only first draft stage, so we won't count that one yet. So yeah, that's me. I live in Brighton, and I write for a living. That's what I do. Yeah, that's me in a nutshell. There is a lot more to me, but that's me in a nutshell.
I didn't realise Brighton was such a haven for writers. I didn't know any, and now I know loads of Brighton-based writers. I don't know who will come out the woodwork.
Yeah, it's actually a really arty city. You know, there's a lot of lots of everybody in all artistic disciplines here. It just seems to be some sort of mecca, right? You know, I don't know why. It's a great city. It's a very lively, fun. You know, it's got a good vibe. So maybe that's why. Who knows? We're by the sea. That's probably the reason why. Who knows?
Yeah, perhaps lends itself to crime and, you know, supernatural as well, maybe, because most writers I know are crime writers. So
yeah. Oh, a lot of crime goes on in Brighton, I can tell you that. You have to be careful out on those streets, like the Wild West at times.
Well, I work and I'm from Luton, so
Luton, yeah. So inland,
yeah, but
inland dweller.
Still very much crime. Yeah, we're Bedfordshire is, I think, the only doubly landlocked county, so I have to go through 2 counties to get to the sea.
Oh God, I have to say I do love living. I mean, I've lived here all my life, to be fair, so I'm used to living by the sea. But I do love it. It does give you that sense of, I think, space to live by the sea. Yeah, it's psychological, I know, but you know.
Yeah, that's my future goal, is to live. I love the sea, so yeah.
Yeah, I do. I couldn't not live by the sea if I ever moved, which I don't think I will. But if I ever moved, it would be by the sea.
Yeah.
I love it. I don't swim though, but you know, I don't get in the sea. I do like looking at it.
Yeah, it's terrifying. Yeah, it's nice to look at, and then, you know, paddle your feet into that much, and then that's fine.
Yeah, exactly. Keep your feet on terra firma, I always say.
Absolutely. I'm dangerous enough on flat ground, so anything that isn't is just asking for trouble. Did you always know that you wanted to be a writer?
Yeah, I suppose so. I mean, I've always loved writing and reading, right from the time I was able to read. I mean, I remember clearly being able to make sense of words around the age of 4 or 5 and just being completely and utterly blown away by this new superpower of mine, that I could actually look at this word and see what it meant, you know. And so I've always loved reading. A huge reader, voracious reader, anything and everything, you know, just give me a book. But I suppose, and then I studied English literature at university, and then I left university and I got a job in a travel company, a big one, and I became a holiday writer, you know, writing for the holiday industry. And then I sort of left there when I was 24, and I went freelance as a holiday writer and wrote for Virgin and First Choice and Thompson Travel, all those, you know, the real biggies. And I did that for years. I did that for about 20 years. And I just thought, no, less than that. Actually, it was about 18, because I was about 41, 42. And I thought, do you know what? I just want to write a novel. I've always wanted to write a novel, and I keep threatening to write a novel. And I thought, no, I'm just going to do it. So I sat down when my youngest daughter was at play school. She went every morning, 9 till 12. And I sat down and wrote my first novel. Funny enough, that was a romance. So, and I sent it off, and I got offers from about 8 publishers. So that was good. And that was the beginning of it all, really. Holiday writing went out the window, and in came novel writing. But I did quickly change to supernatural thrillers. I did 2 romance novels and just thought, I haven't got the imagination for romance. So And actually my favourite genre reading wise has always been supernatural. So it was a natural progression for me.
Yeah, and then 25 books later, here you are. Amazing.
Here I am. Yeah, here I am. And there's very little romance in any of them, really. I mean, you know, one of my favourite, it's strange because one of my favourite writers is Catherine Cookson. I'm sure you've heard of Catherine Cookson. And yeah, she wrote a ton of books and I devoured every one of them, and nobody does emotion better than Catherine Cookson, and she is a romance writer. But yeah, as I say, no one does emotion better than her, so there's no point in me even trying. But yeah, she's brilliant writer.
And what was it particularly about supernatural that drew you to writing about that?
Well, I've been brought up with it, really. And my mum made a lifetime study of the supernatural, and she used to teach me a lot of stuff. She was into various aspects of you know, say Reiki. Reiki's not supernatural, but all these alternative things that she was into, and into occults, etc. The study of them. She wasn't a member of any dark coven or whatever, but the study of them. She was just fascinated by it all, and what lay beyond this world. I suppose it was a huge, intense fascination for her. So she studied it. She made, as I say, she made a lifetime study of it, and I learnt so much from her. So I have been brought up with it. So it is second nature, and she imparted a lot of her knowledge and her vast collection of books on the subject. She bequeathed to me as well upon her death, bless her. So not that I got anywhere remotely near, you know, through them, because there's a massive library of it. But I have dabbled, you know, for research purposes.
That sounds amazing. I'd love to know more, but just don't have time. But yeah.
It's a vast subject, though. I mean, literally, I've just finished my 25th supernatural thriller. The more I write about it, the more I realise what a vast subject it is. It's almost infinite. You know, it just goes on and on and on. So,
what's the most interesting thing you've come across while doing research?
Oh God, I've gone to some very, very interesting places which are supposedly haunted. And so I do quite a lot of that because obviously it's inspiration for me. So places that I've been to, hotel, you know, not just in this country. I set quite a few of my books in the States, and I've travelled around America a lot. So various haunted hotels, etc. So places that I've been led to, you know, I've gone out of my way to go and visit because of their haunted reputation, and then I've subsequently based books on them or used them within books. God, I don't quite know. It's again, it's so vast. Just pulling any one thing out of the air. I mean, research. You know, research of reincarnation, for example, the research that exists around that. That's fascinating. A lot of it can't be refuted. The interest that the research around the weight of the soul. In fact, I've got a book called The Weight of the Soul. You know, that when you die, you're immediately 21 ounces lighter. Immediately, everybody is, and that's apparently the weight of the soul. And it's not just an urban legend. There's a massive amount of research that's gone into this, you know, and it's scientific, and they can't dispute it. The scientists can't dispute it. So those kinds of things, that we're all energy, you know, and that the energy doesn't dissipate, it goes somewhere. So those are the kind of things that everything about it is fascinating, actually.
Yeah.
And it's all in there. I've stuck it all into the books. My mum always said to me, beforehand, she said, you know, it's great that you want to write about the supernatural, wholeheartedly back you, you know, brilliant. She said, but always try and put in every single book you do, try and put something that people can learn from. I think, oh, I didn't know that, you know, and that it's an increase of knowledge. It's not just a story, it's an increase of knowledge as well. So that's what I try and do. Wise words.
Yeah, that's cool. I love learning something from a book. So yeah.
Yeah, I do, and it just gives it that extra edge, doesn't it, in a way?
Yeah, it does.
It's what we're here for. We're here to learn. So, you know, in whatever way we can.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know.
If you were to be picked up and transported into one of your own books as a character, which book would you choose?
Oh, oh my goodness. They do go on some very, very dangerous paranormal journeys, all my characters. I wouldn't want to be any one of them. So yeah, there's my answer. I wouldn't want to be any one of them. But if I had to choose, I would be, I'm most renowned for my Psychic Surveys series. So I've just finished book 9 in that series, which will be out later in the year. So and at the helm, it's a Psychic Surveys team, and there's 4 of them. But Ruby Davis is the lead character. She's sort of in her late 20s, and she's highly, highly psychic, and she's quite a conundrum of character. She's full of light, but she's also full of darkness as well. And she starts off in the books very innocent and quite naive, but as it progresses, she's getting darker and darker, or rather, she's fighting the darkness, the increasing darkness in her. So she's an interesting character. I'd probably be her, to be fair. Although I actually really wouldn't want to be, but you know. But if I had to choose, I'd be her.
Who's one of your most fun characters to write, and who gives you most trouble?
So again, the Psychic Surveys series, Theo, who's another team member, Psychic Surveys team member, she's in her 70s, and she's based on my mum. Right down to my mum had pink hair, so right down to the pink hair, you know, and she's fun because my mum was a hell of a lot of fun. So she's really good fun to write. Ruby gives me the most trouble, yeah, because of the increasing darkness in her. So, but they're all. I love all my characters. You know, they seem like real people. It's really strange. You know, when you're writing in a series. I mean, obviously I write standalones as well, but when you're writing in the series, they're so real to you, and hopefully to readers too. Well, readers do say they are. So you know, hopefully that's the case.
If you can tell us without spoilers, what's been one of your most fun scenes or chapters to write, and what's been one of the most difficult?
Oh God, what's been one of the most fun? Oh God, I've written so many, Donna. I have no idea. They're very rarely fun. But there was one. But there was one in the beginning of Legion. Is it Legion or was it Dissension? This again is a Psychic Survey series, and the team get called out to a pub, which is one of my local pubs, and there's a legend there that the basement is haunted, and it's haunted by pirates. So they get called out to that basement at the beginning of the novel. I think it's Dissension actually, and there's this whole standoff between the pirates, who are the spirits of the pirates, and the Psychic Surveys team. The spirits of the pirates are very happy to remain there. They do not want to leave. They're sort of still getting, you know, drunk on the, you know, a skunk and whatever in their own way, in their own spiritual way, drunk on the spirits. And there's this big standoff between the pirates and the Psychic Surveys team. It's actually that was a hoot of a scene to write. That really was. I mean, I was chuckling away. But then subsequently, strangely enough, I wanted to put that light-hearted scene in because then the book gets very, very dark. So it sort of kicks off in a misleading manner, if you know what I mean. But what was the darkest scene to write, did you say?
Yeah, or the most difficult.
One of my darkest books is called Blakemore. That's definitely one of my most scariest books. So writing the whole of that was, but actually come to think of it, I think what pips that one at the post is The Damned Season, which is a standalone Christmas novel. That was a very difficult book to write because it was very, very dark, and it's actually bringing me down writing it, because I like to inject quite a lot of lightness into my books as well as the dark. So I like to have a balance, if you know what I mean, a good balance. But it was getting darker and darker, and I dreaded coming to my computer and sitting down and write, because it's just bringing me down. It was an odd book to write because it's based on an allegory. And so it was very, very difficult to pull it off successfully. But I did manage to inject some light in it somehow. I had to, for my own well-being, you know. But it has turned out to be a Marmite book. people either love it or they hate it. And they hate it because they don't get the allegory. But if you do, then you'll love it. So out of all my books, it's the most Marmite, I think. Yeah. So, but I found that very difficult to write.
Yeah, it sounds challenging.
It's hard basing it on the sort of, you know, it's if you think about is it Christmas Carol? It's a bit of a take on that in a way, but in a far more modern sense. And it was hard to pull off, and it was just getting so dark. Yeah, I just say it's important for me to have there to be a balance in my books. I like the balance.
Yeah.
I'm not somebody who just writes horror throughout the book, and I know there's a certain amount of people who really want that, who really love that, and that is brilliant. Go for it, but it's not for me. I like more psychological horror, and I don't like blood, guts, and gore or anything like that. So it's a very different type of horror I write. You know.
But I think that's more effective in some ways when it's playing with your mind, and then that's scarier. I think, you know, blood and guts is fine, but you know, when your mind is creeped out, then that's worse.
Well, I think so. I think so. Yeah, but there are also a lot of horror books which are relentlessly bleak, and I think life is relentlessly bleak enough. Let's have a bit of flipping hope in there. But it is strange because there's, you know, the horror community. I mean, you find your tribe with your books, but the horror community, you know, they do like that. They like absolute horror, you know, and I don't. Funny enough, I don't like it in my films, and I don't like it in my books, so I don't write that like that. But I do write some dark material. There is a lot of darkness within it. So,
do you hide any Easter eggs or secret jokes in your books?
Not really, no. I do. But only see there are things that I would say in my real life that I would get the joke and stuff, and I put it in and what have you. It makes me chuckle when I write it anyway. Might make a few others, but so no, not really. I don't. But I know writers who do that. It's very clever.
Yeah, I love it. I think it's, and sometimes you'll never know. You never have a clue.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, it is a good idea. So maybe I will in future. Who knows?
Have you ever killed off anyone you don't like?
I've killed off some I do like. I've killed off some characters in the Psychic Surveys that I really do like. In other books, have I killed everyone I don't like? I haven't killed them, but in the course of the story, they've died because actually some of them are based on real life characters. So, for example, I write another series called Reach for the Dead, and the third book of which, Walker, is coming out next week. But sorry, not next week, next month. But in the middle one is all about cults. The middle book in that series is called Cade's Home Farm, and it's all about cults, and it's in particular about one particular cult back in the 60s. That's set in America, you see, that series. But one very, very notorious cult, and the head of that cult did die. Now, you know, he did die. So they die. It's not my fault they died. They died in history. They died in real life. So, so yeah, I use characters from real life, you know, from real events in my books. So, but I don't actually kill them off. I'm not responsible for that.
And would you consider branching off and writing any other genres like crime, psychological thrillers, that sort of thing?
Well, I've written one psychological thriller called Summer of Grace, which again is set in America, and that was really brilliant. It's a real challenge for me to do that. It's my lockdown book, that one. A real challenge for me not to use the paranormal in it. And I loved it. I rose to the challenge, and it's one of my favourite books. And that went down very, very well with the readers. Would I write crime? No. Yeah, I mean, Summer of Grace is a crime book. So I have written a crime stroke psychological stroke mystery thriller, whatever you want to call it. I suppose it is a crime mystery thriller. Although it's based on a historical crime. I wouldn't write a police procedure. I've got no interest in those, and I don't write those kind of books. I don't read those kind of books, rather. So I could do more psych thrillers. Yeah, I could do more sort of murder mysteries. For next year, though, I have got another idea in mind, a trilogy, and that's going to be more dark fantasy sort of thing. But it's actually based on real life historical things, but I think it's going to have a real Game of Thrones feel to it. I think I'm going to give it a go.
That sounds cool.
But at the heart of it is a well-known historical witch, and so there'll be lots of witchy stuff and all that lot going on as well. But it won't strictly be it won't be paranormal, but it will have some witchy stuff. You know.
Yeah,
I'm going to try my hand at that. Well, I don't know if I do any more romance though. I have got a really good idea for romance, but I just don't know romance. I don't read romance anymore. So I used to when I was a kid, younger, but I've grown out of that. Grown out of all things romantic. I've been married for 34 years. I'm flipping, romance. I don't even remember what it is. So. But I have got an idea for a romantic novel, so you never know. Yeah, I'm all for branching out. I'm all for doing that, but the paranormal is my first love, and I will always write paranormal.
Yeah, well, have you heard of Mark Tilbury?
Oh, yeah, I know Mark. Yeah.
Yeah, he's one of my favourite authors, and obviously he puts a slight paranormal in his books, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, I remember reading one of his first books that he wrote. I've forgotten the name of it now. It was a trilogy. And I got in touch with him and said, I love this. This is brilliant. And we started chatting and stuff from there on in. So, yeah, I really do.
The Revelation Room and Eyes of the Accused.
That's it. Yeah. And the Abattoir,
Yes.
Abattoir one. That's my favourite one. Yeah. Oh, my gosh.
That's how much I love Abattoir.
Yeah. So that's, how flattering. Somebody had a tattoo of one of my taglines on them put on one. So I was like, oh God! But that's amazing. The Abattoir of Dreams. That was really good. Very, very harrowing. So harrowing.
Yeah, I know it's weird to say how much I like it, and I do. I love it. It's one of the rare books that I've read twice, and yeah, it's horrific. It's absolutely horrific, but it's just amazing. So
there are some scenes in that which I was just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
But then you can imagine it happening as well and stuff.
Yeah.
So, really, really good. Yeah. Oh no, I love Mark's stuff. Yeah, he's brilliant.
Yeah, he is. I'm one of his Twisted Annies.
Oh, Twisted. Yeah, I know he talks about his Twisted Annie. I love it.
Bless him. I do think sometimes he's genuinely scared as well. I'm like, you're fine. You live miles away. I can't be asked.
Well, it's well. Remember what Annie did to her beloved writer when she wouldn't talk. It was Misery, the character that she loved, wasn't it? Yeah, it's brilliant. Yeah, very twisted.
Yes, yes, indeed. Bless him.
Miles away.
Oh dear. What's been your highlight so far since you started writing?
Well, I mean, the tattoo was very nice. I love the interaction with readers. I get a lot of readers write to me and stuff, so I love that. One of the ones, I can't actually say why, but she'd been involved in when she read one of my latest books, Roe Hayes, which is about a Scottish witchcraft, basically the witchcraft persecutions back in the old 15th and 16th centuries. And she wrote to me saying how the book had moved her and really, really got to her, really moved her. So I sort of said, why? And she told me the reasons why, and I can't repeat them because this is sensitive information, but my God, I thought, if ever there was a reason for writing, there it was. But so those are highlights for me. Those validate what I do.
Yeah. So. I think a lot of authors have got that one, haven't they, a message or email, where they've really moved someone. And
yeah, but it was for the reasons. I mean, I get that when people sort of come in, but it was for that particular reason. And honestly, I was just in tears. Yeah, it was incredible. So
yeah. If you're able to spend a day with any author, dead or alive, who would you like to spend a day with?
Oh gosh, Anne Rice has just died. I loved Anne Rice, so her Mayfair Witches books are amongst my favourite. I did like the vampire ones too, but it was the Mayfair Witches for me. So, and the way she just brought New Orleans to life, I'd love to. She's a fascinating lady. So it could be Anne Rice, or it would be. Can I be greedy? Can I have James Herbert as well, who is one of my utmost favourite horror writers, and he only lives. Well, he dead now, but he lived close by, and he lived a few miles up the road. I since discovered, so I could have met him, but he's long gone now. Bless his heart. So Anne Rice or James Herbert for me. I mean, both absolutely enjoyed me wanting to be a writer.
Yeah, my mum and my sister both nagged me for years and years and years to read the Rats trilogy. Like, I'll get round to it. Oh my God, absolutely phenomenal. So I get that.
His writing. It was so accessible. It was so down to, it's all this horror. It was still really accessible. It's all, again, it's like stuff. It's not high fantasy. You can imagine it all unfolding, and the horror of the Rats was awful. God, the Rats really was awful. Yeah. I really like them since then.
Wasn't a fan anyway, to be honest, but like, was it dog-sized or something? It just
God, yeah, you can just imagine. You just imagine, but he did it for us. He gave it to us.
He did.
Brilliant.
Yeah, thanks for that, James. I never be able to look at a rat the same. And London Underground, actually.
Yeah. Oh yeah. God, you see them running all over the tracks and stuff. Oh, yeah. Definitely those two. I think. I mean, there'll be more, but off the top of my head, those two.
You attending any literature festivals or any events this year?
Oh, I'm one of those authors that can't bear to attend events or be there signing books. I don't like doing signings or anything. I just like sitting in my lonely garret creating stories. I don't mind speaking to people online. So I just can't be bothered to go to these things, and what have you. So, no. Is the answer to that. No.
Fair enough.
But I have gone in the past and I get invited to them and everything, but I'm just not my thing. I don't know why. It just isn't.
I don't think there are any author scene because you're naturally introverted people generally. I imagine it's the worst nightmare for most. So they have to sort of come out of their caves and into the light and then talk to people in real life.
Just lock me away in my little cave and leave me to create. I've got all my worlds going on in here. and writers are like that. We are, I am quite extrovert at times, but I get quite shy when meeting people face to face about my work and stuff. I just get sort of like, oh, I like meeting other authors. I like, talking to them about their stuff and everything. But I don't know. So I haven't. No, there is nothing. Of course, they're all starting up again, aren't they, post-COVID? So
yeah.
Do you go to many?
Well, I didn't. Because I didn't really know about them. I've only sort of really been involved in this crazy world for maybe 2 years, since the beginning of lockdown. So I didn't really know about them. But last year I went to Harrogate and Bloody Scotland, and then this year I helped organise one in Stoke called Tales on Trent. Then I'm going to Harrogate. And I'm going to something called Books on the Beach, and then I'm going to Bloody Scotland, and I'm going to Capital Crime.
Brilliant.
Because I talk to so many authors like this.
Yeah.
So I've seen them on the computer and I've not met them. So I want to meet as many people. And then I've met fellow bloggers and things as well. And I love it. I absolutely love it. So but I absolutely broke because I'm paying for all these things.
I know, it does get expensive, doesn't it? That's the other thing, it does get really expensive. But But worth it. You're doing what you love. So anything, if you're not really loving it, then it's worth every penny.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. But yeah, it's quite a trek.
Yeah.
I don't know why they can't have them down here. Why is everything up north?
Yeah, that's true. I know. We could organise a southern one, couldn't we?
I'm kind of tempted, but part of me is like, oh my god, it's terrifying.
I'm daunted. Yeah, I'm daunted. And a lot of them, I was actually going to one prior to lockdown, which was actually a horror-based one up in the north again, Skegness. The Horror Writers Association were doing one. So I thought, do you know what? I will go along, and I'll pitch there, and blah blah blah. Have meet other horror writers and etc. But a lot of these things, they are for other writers other than horror. Like you say, it's crime, and crime is so massive and all. But I don't really write crime, so I'm not really in those circles, if you know what I mean. So yeah, I probably would go if there was a more horror themed one. Yeah, I probably would.
Yeah, and the one that we done in Stoke in May was multi-genre, so that was interesting because we had romance writers, historical writers, we had a woman dressed up in Egyptian costume, and obviously crime writers and stuff, erotica, and it was that was interesting.
Yeah. I've been to ones in the past which were a mix of genres, and again, you find yourself quite sort of minority. It's mainly romance and crime and erotica and all that sort of stuff. So I think for me, if I was going to be tempted out of my little garret, then it's got to be, I think, largely horror based, I think.
Yeah, which is fair enough,
Yeah. So I might do in the future.
If you made lots of author friends since you started writing?
Yeah, I have actually. Yeah, I've got my good circle of author friends and what have you, and I've even set up with fellow authors our own cooperative, Authors Reach, which we publish through, and there's how many of us? 9 or 10 in there now, and we all help each other. There's editors, there's cover designers, there's formatters, etc. So we're a real sort of we all rely on each other, and we all help each other, and we share ideas and marketing ideas and stuff like that as well. So that's really nice the way that's worked out. But I have, and it's been great for that. So.
What's the funniest or strangest feedback you've ever had?
Like in a review or something.
Yeah.
Well, my funniest is one. This is quite early on in the career, and she said, "No, I don't like this author. She seems to make it up as she goes along." This is exactly what I do. Move on, just move on. That's what we all do. But feedback, advice, feedback. I mean, the good. My mum would, as I said, gave me good advice about always trying to include factual stuff in it. And I get feedback from readers saying, "Oh, I never knew that. That's fascinating." And I've since gone off and researched it, and it's opening up a can of worms for them. Now I want to find out about that, and now I want to find out about this and that. So I get feedback from people saying that they love the more spirit, because the psychic surveys, it might be sort of part horror, but it's very spiritual. The whole thing is very spiritual. It is based on proper spiritual knowledge, but research, I suppose. What being psychic is actually all about, and so I get a lot of feedback from psychics who say, "God, at last I've got a series which is actually how we work." And thank you. That's great, because a lot of stuff does descend just into pure horror, and like I say, I like to keep a balance. So I get all that sort of feedback and what have you, and good and bad, but it thankfully the good far outweighs the bad. But that was always one of my favourite ones. She seems to make it up as she goes along. Sometimes you just have to laugh your head off at these reviews. You really do.
Someone missed the memo, didn't they, about what fiction writing is?
Yeah. You just think, oh my God, really?
Oh,
But it's all part and parcel. And writers will say, when they first start off, whenever you get any negative feedback, you're like, oh my God, I'm never going to write again. Never. I'm awful. I'm rubbish. But, as you get old, progress, and you get a bit more thick skin, and you're a bit like, yeah, it's part of the job. Just get on with it. You're going to get, there's this wonderful saying, some people love what you do. Some people hate what you do. Most people don't give a damn. And it really helps put everything in perspective.
Yeah.
You find your tribe. You find the people that do love you. The more you write, the more you find that. So, well, not me. They love the writing, not me. But you know what I mean.
Oh, I don't know. I imagine some people love you as well. You must have quite a loyal fan base now after 25 books or 24 that are released.
Yeah, I do, and that's really, really nice. Yeah, and it grows. It seems to grow with each book and stuff. It's always. So I speak a lot to the people that have been with me for quite a few of those books now. It's really nice when you start speaking to new people who've come on board. So I've just found your books, and now I've been. What amazes me, the most amazing feedback I actually do get is people who've read every single one of them. I thought, really? I don't think I've read every one of Dean Koontz's book or Stephen King's or Anne Rice's, or I haven't. I've picked the ones that I fancy and I've read them and what have you. But so I always find that utterly amazing.
Yeah, there's some authors I've read every book of.
Yeah.
Up to a point, actually, like Lee Child and James Patterson. Up to a point, I'd read them all.
Yeah.
I haven't read all Stephen King's because they're just bricks usually, but I do love them.
Yeah.
Kathy Wright's, Tess Gerritsen, I'd read all of theirs up to a point. So yeah, I love the series.
Yeah. See, I haven't even Catherine, even my beloved Catherine Cookson. I still haven't. I've read most of them, but like you say, up to a point. The more modern books that she produced, I just sort of thought, I prefer the older body of work, and I do with Stephen King. I do with Dean Koontz. I do with Anne Rice. I do with all of those iconic authors that were around in those days, which I think everyone my age who was interested in those genres just binged on. But it's always up to a certain point.
Because for me it was just because I started blogging, so I just don't have time. No time.
I don't read a lot nowadays. I try to, but I only read before bedtime, and it's usually about a chapter before I'm snoring my head off. Lying there with the Kindle over my head. And absolutely flat out. Sarah England, I love her writing. She's one of my favourites, and a very good friend of mine. In fact, we're having a joint launch next month of our books. So they're both coming out on the same day, and we're going to have a Facebook online party launch on it. So that'll be nice. But she's great. Oh my God. She's written the only book which I couldn't read at night, which was Father of Lies. And it was terrifying. So, yeah. But yeah, she's another great one. They're such great authors out there. So many of them. God, I often think when I get older and I'm not going to write anymore, sort of thing. My hands have seized up or something. I just think I'm going to spend all my days just reading on all the books that I've wanted to read, because that's what my life's been about. Books in all shapes and forms. And it has been ever since I discovered books. So,
yeah.
It's such a joy.
Yeah, I agree completely. That's what my tattoo says. It eases my soul when I need it most. It's a light in the dark.
Yeah. Oh, that is lovely. And that is so true. That is so true. It can just, we have this world that we exist in, which is our reality. But with a book, you can escape it if you need to. But note that you can explore other realities, endless reality. That's a huge gift for as a reader, isn't it? That's a huge gift.
Absolutely. Especially during lockdown and stuff, with the world just went insane. To get yourself lost in a book is something special, definitely, to forget for a while that it's madness.
I love films too, but just books take you deeper, don't they, I think? So I do love watching a movie, but yeah, books just take you so far into that world. And then you fall down the rabbit hole, as it were.
Yeah. So you said that you finished book 25 and you're editing. So what's coming next?
So what's coming next is book 3 in the Reach for the Dead series, which is launching next month on the 20th of July, and that's called Walker. First one's called Mandy, then there's Case Home Farm, and then the third one is Walker. And this is the series that's set in America with Shady Groves at the helm, and she's psychometry. She can handle objects and read them, the history attached to them. So that's the premise. And she works in a museum along with 2 other colleagues, where they basically it's actually a safe house for charged objects that have been negatively charged. So Walker is the next one coming out, and which deals with the taboo subject of skinwalkers, which is a fascinating subject, absolutely fascinating. A lot on YouTube about it if you want to Google, want to find it. There's so much fascinating subject. And then what's next this year will be Psychic Surveys 9. And then I try and get in a little Christmas ghost story. So usually a novella, so about 50, 60,000 words. So try and get in a Christmas, because I find that now I've started off that trend, everybody wants me to continue. So, which is great, because I love a Christmas ghost story myself. So, I've got the idea brewing for that. And then next year, I will continue to write paranormal, but I've got this idea for a dark fantasy, Game of Thrones type trilogy, based back in the old Arthurian days, actually. Because when I was younger, I was obsessed with Arthurian history, and I have read every single book there is on the subject, both fact and fiction. And I always wanted to write a book, my own telling of it one day. It's going to be very dark, I have to say. And I think the time's come.
Awesome, yeah.
I hope so, anyway. Touch wood, touch wood. The time has come, anyway. It might be a complete disaster, you never know. I might have to shelve it, but yeah, I'll try. That's all I can ever do, is try.
Absolutely. But it's worked out all right for you so far, so I think you're fine.
Yeah, it has. I'm very lucky that I can write full-time as an author. I do thank my lucky stars every day for that.
Well, I can't think of any more questions for you, unless you think there's anything I haven't asked you that you want to tell us.
No, I think we covered quite a lot, haven't we? It's been a lovely informal chat. I love that. So, no, I've really enjoyed it, and enjoyed meeting and your doggy. I can see your doggy there.
Yeah, Trixie.
Hello, Trixie. Oh,
hello, girl. Hello. Oh. She's a rescue as well.
Yeah,
she's an absolute baby in the house. Take her outside and she sees another dog and she turns into Cujo.
Oh God, it's weird, isn't it? It's weird. Yeah, but the rest, I love. There's so many that need rescuing, aren't there? And they really are the sweetest. Apart from my 4 cats, who are really the most awful creatures, you can actually see why they've been given away. They really are awful. I can't tell you. But I'm stuck with them now, because nobody, there's no way I can rehome them, because nobody would want them. So stuck. But after they go, finally, I'm going to get a dog. Oh, I really want a doggy. I've got a ghost dog in the Psychic Survey series. He's called Jed, and he is the most popular character.
Of course.
He would be. Everybody needs a ghost dog or a dog. You can have a living one too if you want.
Yeah, as long as you don't kill it. God forbid.
No. But he's more of a spirit guide, you know what I mean? So that movies picked up along the way. So there for protection, and very loyal.
So just before we go, would you like to tell everyone where they can find out more about you and where they can get your books from, most importantly?
Yeah, so you can go to my website, which is shanistruthers.com, or www.shanistruthers.com, I think, or just go onto Amazon, put Shani Struthers and Google me. My Amazon product page comes up with all the books, etc. So, or on Facebook as well. So, Shani Struthers, plus I've got a Shani Struthers author page. So I'm everywhere. I'm even on TikTok right now.
Ooh.
So, I know.
Do you understand it? I have no clue what's going on TikTok ever.
I actually really love it. You know why it's called TikTok? Because you think, I'll go for 5 minutes and about half an hour passes. So it's TikTok, it's all the time that passes that you just literally disappears. No, it's fascinating actually, because a lot of authors on there and they're sharing tips and all sorts of stuff. I've learned a lot. Book Talk, you'd love Book Talk.
I need to investigate more. I think I need more time to play, but most of the time
and stuff on there, and it's fascinating. It's brilliant. So and I've picked up lots of book recommendations as well from it. So it is good.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. This has been amazing.
Thank you ever so much, and I'll speak to you soon.